Like somebody might have it in their wardrobe and they might just chuck it on eBay for like hardly anything. That does happen sometimes with these vintage bags. Sometimes people sell them for like, you know, under $2,000 because they don't know what they have, and particularly because it doesn't have obvious Hermes branding. It doesn't have like a H, or it's not a Kelly, it's not a Birkin. Some people undervalue these bags, but actually they're even harder to find than Kellys and Birkins. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. Oh my gosh, guys. This week, I have been really obsessed with vintage Hermes bags, and I'm kind of on the hunt for a vintage bag. Yes, guys, I'm not retired from shopping yet, but I wanted to share with you some of my favorite vintage Hermes bags that you can pick up on the secondhand market. And I know I always talk about the secondhand market, you guys, but I think that these bags are quite underrated, and they might be hard to find in good condition, sometimes due to the age. But even though I feel like they're old, they're still very cool pieces. They don't make things like they used to, and it's kind of nice to cherish older things from the past as well and appreciate the history of Hermes. And like, there's just some details in older bags that you don't get anymore. So I don't know, I've been really into researching more about vintage Hermes bags. Oh, and also guys, I wanted to share with you my bag of the day. This is my Bolide 31 in, I think it could be Rouge Garant. I don't know guys, what color do you think this is? Because I believe this bag is from 2013, and I know this is not Rouge Vif, or it's not Rouge H, and it's, I don't know, I actually don't know what color. I don't think it's ruby either. So I think it's Rouge Garant, but I actually had two other twillies on this bag, and I did like that combination, but I'm just not 100% sure. So I've been playing around with different twillies, and today I've put on it this little twilly, which is a very special twilly actually, because it has little crystals on it. So I don't use this twilly very often because I'm kind of worried the crystals are going to fall off, but I just love the little playing cards on this twilly. I only have one twilly, so I don't know whether I have to buy a pair, but yeah, what do you think of this combination, guys? Do you think it kind of matches the bag? I think the red kind of ties into it, although I feel like this red is kind of dull compared to some of the other reds in my collection, which are either more deep or just have more of a like a pinky tone to them. This one is more of like it's a bit of a dull red, which is not bad. I still love it. I think it's still easy for me to match to things, but I don't know whether it needs like a more vibrant twilly with it to lift the color, or whether this is kind of dragging it down. I don't know, guys. I gotta still like work out the perfect twilly combination for this bag. I reckon this is cuter than like the other twilly I had. I'll put a picture on the screen, but yeah, let me know, guys. Do you have any recommendation of twilly for this bag? Let me know, because I am a bit twilly obsessed, and I actually have too many twillies, but I just can't get enough. So, okay, first bag, guys, that I've been obsessed with lately is the Hermes drag bag. This is a bag that I believe came out in the 1960s, and it comes in quite a few sizes: the 27, the 28, the 30, the 32, and the 37. So you can get a lot of different sizes on the secondhand market, and you can, I believe they reissued it in the 2010s in a similar look. And then recently, I think it was about 2 years ago, they issued another version of the drag bag, which had like a crossbody strap, and it didn't have the same sort of hardware on it, which I really like the new version as well, to be honest. I think it's a little bit more modernized. However, the new version tends to go for quite a lot on the secondhand market and even in the boutique. I'm not sure. I think you can still get it in the boutique, the new drag bag. But sometimes the vintage versions can go for definitely like under 5,000 Australian dollars, and they come in like gorgeous variations, like exotics like ostrich, crocodile, but then you can also get like box calf, which, you know, I think exploring vintage box calf is a good way to kind of get into Hermes, because, well, if you do buy box calf bags from the Hermes boutique, they are much more expensive than the regular leather. So if you want to go for a vintage box calf, sometimes that's a good way to like dip your toe into Hermes. So like a box calf drag, I think, is like very classy. It's similar to a Birkin. It actually came out before the Birkin. As I said, it came out in the 1960s. However, it's never become as popular as a Birkin, that's for sure. But I did actually read on Reddit, and guys, let me know if this is true, that, because I saw somebody posted a picture of their drag bag because I was doing research on it, and somebody on Reddit said that the drag bag was one of Audrey Hepburns' favorite Hermes bags. So I don't know whether that's true, guys. And apparently it was like gonna be called the Audrey bag, but then they didn't. So I don't know if that's made up, fake news, but if this is good enough for Audrey Hepburn, guys, I think this is good enough for like most people, because Audrey Hepburn, of course, was photographed with like her Speedy bag, and I think that's what made the Speedy even more iconic. She's also been photographed actually with like a crocodile Kelly. And I'd love to do a video actually on Audrey Hepburn's like handbags, because I think that would be really interesting to look at, because she was a fashion and she is a fashion icon. So yeah, I would love to research more into like what handbags she preferred to wear, but apparently she liked the drag bag. So yeah, this one, it's literally on the top of my wish list, guys. I really love this bag. I think it's very classy. It's a little bit more, I mean, it's a little less, I think this style is a little less in fashion at the moment. I think at the moment people are going for super slouchy casual bags, and I love that too. I realized I like the slouchy vibe, but I also like the more put together ladylike vibe as well. It just depends what I'm wearing. So yeah, I don't know, guys. This is like a very pretty bag. So yeah, that's that. I'm obsessed with the drag bag. Okay, next bag that is the top of my dream imaginary wish list is this Hermes Collie Macon bag. And it's basically a bag that came out in the late 90s, I believe. Maybe, I think 1995. But this one here that I found on a more vintage is from 1998. And it's a little snail-shaped bag. Super duper cute. It tends to go for quite a lot on the secondhand market, even though it's vintage. This one is 7,000 Australian dollars, which is not crazy. I mean, it is crazy, but it's not like, I could probably get that at one point in my life. So, guys, I think I'm going to go back to Japan next year, and if I see this bag there, I'm going to buy it, because I freaking love this bag. Like, it's like, it's a bit silly. It's shaped like a snail, but, Hermes don't tend to do these more quirky bags. Like something like this I would imagine from like, honestly, like Kate Spade or even like Loewe or something, but for Hermes to do such like a fun bag, I don't know, I just think it's so cute, and it's a snail. This bag I've seen in obviously this white color, which I quite like. I've also seen it in more of like a natural browny color. I think I've also seen it in black. So out of all the colors, I probably like the black or the cream the best. The brown is okay, but I realize I don't like Hermes browns that much. I don't know why, but yeah, I probably prefer the cream. The cream is cute, actually. It's very summery. So yeah, I really love this bag. It's obviously quite a rare piece. You don't come by it very often. Probably it's easier to find the drag bag than this bag. But then again, like with these vintage bags, you can find them, but then the condition can be completely trashed, which is also a problem. However, sometimes if your bag has not been colored or touched up, you can take it to the Hermes spa and they can fix it for you at a cost. So I've always thought, like, if I find, like, I actually did buy a few years ago a 1960s Hermes bag, and I took it to the Hermes bag spa, and I only paid like $400 or $500, and they fixed it up for me, and then I sold it. But yeah, you can definitely like do that, which is a good thing, because I think it's, I don't know, it's very sustainable as well, saving these old bags and then bringing them back to life. I love that kind of concept as well. And it's like, as I said, they don't really make bags like they used to. Like, some of these bags are really cool. And if you were to, like, if Hermes were to reissue this snail bag, I'm sure it would cost more than $7,000. So, and then on a similar kind of vibe, there is this Cadenna bag. So it's literally shaped like a lock. I love this one as well. This one that I found on a more vintage is from 1993. So again, it's like from the 90s. And this one is in a suede. Not as into the suede, however, I do think it's cool. You guys know suede's a little bit delicate, but I have seen this bag in I'm pretty sure I've seen it in non-suede variations as well. But again, it's just like a really cool bag, a little bit more quirky. It's like an oversized lock bag, and definitely like one of those collector's pieces. Now, this one on a more vintage is an astronomical price at $21,000. But if I was to come about this bag, I don't know, yeah, maybe for like under 7,000, yes, I would buy it. 21,000, no thanks. But yeah, it is one of those collector's bags. And that's the thing with some of these bags that are quite unique and iconic, they actually can go up in value quite a lot. Like, for example, the Chanel Heart Vanity Case. That's another kind of quirky shape that I remember, like, 5 or 6 years ago, you could get that on the secondhand market and it was still so expensive. But now the price is astronomical compared to what it used to be. So I feel like bags like these really unique Hermes bags, they could, like the snail, like the Cadenna, they're kind of those like really sought after collectible bags that, I don't know, I really wish I had one, but I do enjoy just admiring them from afar as well. I think they're quite unique shapes. Now, another bag which I'm absolutely loving is this Hermes Blue Ocean box frigid handbag. Now, I never see this one either that commonly on the secondhand market. This again is at a more vintage. So, I mean, I love going to Japan and going to a mall because they have so many like unique collectible Hermes bags. And this bag, it has this kind of like cut out wavy design with a little sailing wheel on it. It is so cool. All that detail. I believe this bag is from the 1980s. And they did do another bag, which I really love from the 1980s, that has like a palm tree on it as well. I love both that one and this one. I think they're just both very cool bags. They're definitely, yeah, like their sea-inspired beach theme. And the silhouette, it does look a bit more old-fashioned, particularly this sailing ship one, like with the very structured top handle. You could imagine something like this being, you know, something a lady in the 1950s would wear or something. I feel like these days, this is definitely like a very retro vintage look. It doesn't look very modern. However, I just love the details, the cutouts, all the stitching, and then the wheel on the front. I think it's just like such a cool bag. So yeah, and I also even really like the finish, the boxcar finish in this. I think this looks really stunning. This one is $8,000. Between this one and the snail, I do prefer the snail because they're a similar price point. But to be honest, I never really see this like blue ocean handbag. And this is the kind of thing that you might be able to grab for a really good deal. Like somebody might have it in their wardrobe and they might just chuck it on eBay for like hardly anything. That does happen sometimes with these vintage bags. Sometimes people like sell them for like, you know, under $2,000 because they don't know what they have, and particularly because it doesn't have obvious Hermes branding. It doesn't have like a H, or it's not a Kelly, it's not a Birkin. Some people undervalue these bags, but actually they're even harder to find than Kellys and Birkins. Then there's another bag that I think is quite interesting. It's called the Lorraine bag. I think the silhouette at the moment is very much in fashion. It's that kind of like east-west rectangle style. You know, I noticed that bags like the Plume bag and the Victoria are kind of back in fashion, so it's kind of leaning into that vibe. But the thing about this bag is that it has some very substantial hardware on the front, and on the inside, I believe it has all these like little pocket compartments. It's quite a detailed bag. I've seen this bag in a few different color variations, but it often comes in like contrasting color style. So it kind of, yeah, it's like a bag with like multiple colors within it. And this one, it's actually not as expensive as some of those other more collectible bags. They tend to go for, yeah, like under $4,000, which is still expensive. I'm not saying it's not expensive, but I mean, in terms of Hermes bags, it's pretty good for the amount of work in it and the amount of detail that this bag has. So it's actually quite a cool bag. I think it would be a great bag for work. It'd be one that I would actually use. Probably like that cruise ship bag. I wouldn't use it that much because it's quite like a small bag. I tend to like chuck in my stuff in my bag. That's why I use my Victoria a lot and my Bull Leads, because I like to just throw my things in. So this bag I think would be more useful for me. However, I don't know if it's, to be honest, it's not my favorite vintage Hermes bag, but I do kind of like it. So if I found it for a good price, I might be tempted. The piano bag, I believe this bag also comes from the 60s, and it has some hardware pieces on the front and then the little structured top handle. This one, it's a little bit more of a slimline silhouette, and yeah, it's a little bit more minimal as well. I think this is a really classy bag, and sometimes you can find this bag for amazing deals. It's not as rare to find as some of the other bags I've mentioned, but I think if you're dipping your toe into Hermes, if you just want to like get a piece of history from the brand, this could be another nice one to pick up as well and to explore. And actually, finally, I just want to show you guys one more really interesting bag that is very detailed. It looks like a face. It looks like a little bug or something, but this is from 1983. It's called the Passe guide bag. and it has all this really hefty hardware all over it. Like this is gold detailing on the side, the front with that little face, and I believe this is like I'm gonna say it's a shoulder bag, but the shape of the bag in itself, like that really structured silhouette, I know this would be really hard to make. Like you can see all the detail in this bag. It just looks like a very complicated bag to make, and just all that hardware, like wow, it's a really stunning bag actually. And although actually this is not usually my style, I prefer like a little top handle cutesy bag. I do appreciate the look of this bag. And it's one you don't see very often. Now, when I do see it on the secondhand market, it is priced rather high. And I think that's because it would have been originally a really expensive bag to make. And you don't usually get bags with this much detail anymore. So yeah, I think it's actually one that I really appreciate just looking at it. I don't know if I would invest my money into it myself. I don't know if it's really my style, but I think it's quite an interesting looking bag. Even just like all the stitching on it, the curve of the bag, absolutely perfection, right? Like when you look at how it's crafted, like it's just wow, it's really incredible to look at. Anyways guys, there's some vintage Hermes bags I'm obsessed with lately. Let me know what was your favorite, and are you a vintage bag lover, or are you just buy new and that's it? Because I totally understand there's a lot of pitfalls to buying vintage as well. So yeah, anyways guys, thanks for watching my video today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you really soon. Bye.